Yeah, jigaboo is a very racially offensive term towards
China 10 News 3 investigates the death of a Wisconsin native who officials say committed suicide in the prime of his life. Why his family disagrees.
Kind of rattled the house. You know, we said, "Whoa, what was that?"
A neighbor recalls what he saw when a home intended to house a convicted sex offender went up in flames for a second time.
But for students shaken up, but okay tonight after their school bus was involved in a crash. That school bus crash sending first responders from as far away as Middleton to that scene north of Prairie du Sac.
And new since 6, the Sauk County Sheriff says a 16-year-old driving an SUV slammed into that bus carrying nearly 3 dozen Sauk Prairie students. Matthew Simon just got back from Sauk Prairie and is continuing coverage tonight. Matthew?
Michelle Eric, a Sauk Prairie Memorial spokesperson, telling News 3 late tonight the bus's driver and 11 students who had to go to the hospital after the crash have thankfully been discharged. A sheriff's department spokesperson comparing many of the injuries to something similar to whiplash. The sheriff's department and school district saying about 3:30 the bus driver made a stop to make a drop-off on Highway 78 at Longwood Drive north of Prairie du Sac. That's when the sheriff says a 16-year-old driver described as inattentive hit the bus carrying 34 students ranging in ages from 8 to 18 years old. Most of them were okay and waited things out on another bus.
They were pretty adventurous, go-lucky, happy, you know, instead of actually seeing it, you know, how kids see an accident and their eyes are on it, they're actually involved. So there was a lot of excitement, really.
Going out, I wasn't sure what to expect, but again, thankful for the tremendous group of people that were here supporting our students. I didn't see any student panic or show unrest. They were calmed and treated with the greatest medical attention and comfort as students. So I was immediately in a position where I knew we could take care of the situation because of the great work of these teams.
Now, it took a couple of hours to get all the parents reunited with their children. If the investigation reveals the 16-year-old driver contributed to this crash, he may face charges. The sheriff's captain saying he thinks it's very fortunate the injuries were not more serious.
Yeah, lots of excitement. Not the kind that we like to see, but more to come on this story, I'm sure. Thank you, Matthew. One person was sent to the hospital for smoke inhalation after a daycare had a furnace problem.
That furnace started smoking at the La Petite Academy in Fitchburg about 11 this morning. 70 people, including children and workers, had to be evacuated. The kids were initially put in ambulances to keep them warm before a metro bus could arrive. No word on when that daycare center will reopen.
It appears arson strikes twice for one home in Cottage Grove. Someone has set fire to the same house twice in 3 months. Fire investigators say a registered sex offender named Howard Nyberg was supposed to be moving in soon. Neighbors tell News 3 that they were trying to fight it. Witnesses said they heard a loud boom around 7:30 last night before catching fire. That same house, by the way, caught fire in December.
Well, last night about as cold as it gets overnight. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti.
The good news is tonight won't be nearly as cold, although it is windy and wind chills are still pretty chilly. Last night, we dropped to 12 below zero here in Madison, our coldest night so far this winter. Temperatures were in the teens below zero to our north and west. It's cold as 29 below in Black River Falls, well to our north and west. And as we take a look at current temperatures, they've been fluctuating in the upper single digits all evening. You can see they're actually warmer to the north and west. It's 11 in La Crosse, and our temperatures will actually be rising overnight. With the brisk winds, the wind chills still are below zero, hovering between about 5 and 15 below zero. And to our north and west, there's also some snow flurries that'll move through here tomorrow as temperatures at least briefly warm up for a day. Temperatures by 7 a.m. will climb to around 20 degrees. Look for a high of 28, although it will be windy and there'll be a chance for a couple of snow flurries. I'll have your full forecast in a few minutes.
Gary, thanks. New at 10, Governor Walker out of the state again tonight, speaking at a Christian media convention down in Nashville, Tennessee. He told the crowd he is still considering a run for president.
Should God ultimately call us to get in this race, and I'm still trying to decipher if this is God's calling. Because I said the closer you get to this, the more you realize you got to be crazy to want to be president of the United States. You got to be crazy. When you look at what it does to a person and a family, you got to be crazy.
Now, likely also on the mind of Governor Walker, right-to-work legislation.
In the morning, the State Senate Labor Committee will hold a public hearing on the provisions. But today, leaders from about a dozen major unions in the state met in Madison near the Capitol, calling on Republican lawmakers to reverse course on right-to-work legislation. If passed, private sector workers would no longer be required to join a union or pay union dues as an employment requirement. The leaders called right to work an attack on the middle class.
When solidarity is eroded, it's the entire middle class who suffers. Collective bargaining and unions help set the standards in terms of wages and working conditions for all workers in a community.
A big union rally is planned in Madison tomorrow.
UW system student groups from all over the state come to Madison today, worried about their voice if right to work should pass. They also spoke out against the governor's proposed $300 million in cuts to the system. The student group says the proposals will make education less accessible in Wisconsin and that the governor has deliberately stripped away the voices of students in the discussion over changes to the UW system, arguing the state is putting its money in the wrong place.
In 2011, spending for the Department of Corrections surpassed spending on the UW system. The state also spends 3 times the amount on each person it locks up as it does on each student in K through 12 schools.
The United Council of UW Students spending the week discussing the issues at a conference in Madison. And stay tuned to News 3 for coverage of this developing story. Our team will be on this story tomorrow. See the very latest on WISC TV3 and channel3000.com. Alex Heitman was a month away from becoming a first-time father and on his way to a PhD when he died in the summer of 2011. Those who knew him said the 29-year-old enjoyed life. Yet authorities ruled the Adams County native's death a suicide. Now, nearly 3.5 years later, his parents still don't believe it, and they're not alone. There were errors on his death certificate, a lack of evidence, and a criminal investigation where Alex was a key witness. News 3 investigative reporter Adam Schrager has more.
It's like a story you'd see on a 48 Hours mystery, only Don and Annette Heitman feel like this story is not even close to being over. This happened in eastern Tennessee, outside of Knoxville, and that's only made getting answers to their questions even more challenging. Fundamentally, though, really only one question matters. What happened to Alex Heitman? Still photos don't seem to fit the active lifestyle Alex Heitman led.
He really enjoyed life.
And yet there is no video. Alex's story is now told in past tense.
There's a man, DOA, he shot himself in the head.
It was the summer of 2011, and Don and Annette Heitman had just seen their son at his wife's baby shower 6 weeks earlier. He'd been worried about his job in Tennessee as a school finance officer.
And he said, if I lose my job, or anything happens, can you and Dad help out? And we told him, sure, lots of people lose their jobs and go through a rough time and need help. That's not a problem, and that we would be there for him.
Alex had recently reported to police a check fraud scheme costing the school district thousands of dollars.
He said that if we did business like this in Wisconsin, he'd be in jail.
He was a month away from being a first-time father, studying for his PhD, and then Alex was dead.
Basically, they told us it was a suicide.
But suicide did not square with their memories of Alex, and neither did the details. He was found more than an hour from his home in a location the GPS on his car and phone had never registered before.
How does a person end up 80 miles from his home out in the absolutely middle of nowhere?
And then there was the crime scene. Police were there for 5 hours, but there were no fingerprints taken, no ballistics report, no details at all. It took the Heitmans 2 years of asking and filing open records requests to finally get the incident report surrounding Alex's death. And in the segment where it asks for the who, what, when, where, how, and why of what happened, it's blank.
You wonder, how can somebody be on the scene of a crime for 5 hours and not have any kind of a report of what happened?
Further, nearly every official record, including the death certificate, has the wrong name on it.
That's what makes it so hard to believe all this. I mean, we just, how do you comprehend all the mistakes?
And now the coroner who worked on Alex's case has been suspended for manipulating crime scenes.
I don't know. Kind of lost the words for that one.
So for the last 3.5 years, they've kept asking questions. And they're not alone.
The people down there want answers, too. They want the answers just as bad as we do.
They have every right to the questions they're asking. And if I was in their shoes, I would be asking the same questions.
Trina Bond is a city council member in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where Alex worked for the schools. She's leading an effort to have that city's police force share more information with the Heitmans.
There's a million questions we want answered, but yeah, it all boils down to what happened to Alex. What happened to Alex Heitman?
Did his whistleblowing cost him his life? Or was he worried he'd lose his job and depressed to the point of suicide? His parents, 3.5 years later, still can't answer why.
We just don't know. I mean,
We don't have any really solid answers as to what happened to him.
We spoke with Alex Heitman's widow, who says she believes it was a suicide and that well after Alex died, she had found a suicide note on his computer. Complicating matters, last summer, the school district where Alex worked released an audit showing he'd allegedly taken funds for an iPad and to continue his education without approval. His parents, though, say there has been no documentation to support that.
All right, unbelievable story. Try to keep finding some answers here. Adam, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on News 3, mall owners and shoppers are on alert around the nation as a new threat from an extremist group emerges.
And an Arctic blast hitting parts of the South, the Northeast, and Midwest, but that's not stopping these snow geese from getting in their workouts. We'll explain when News 3 10 returns.
You're watching Eric Franke and Michelle Lee. Meteorologist Gary Canalti. And Jay Wilson with sports. This is News 3 at 10.
There we go. There you go, Michelle.
Hello.
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 What are you guys talking about in there?
Hey.
Can you guys see me? What are you guys talking about in there? What are you doing?
Well, it's like, I mean, Nick is talking about like a new HTTP format, and I didn't know.
It's supposed to be bigger and better than the last one. It's supposed to be faster and use bandwidth better and all that kind of stuff.
I think I'm supposed to be on the... Am I lagging by chance?
A little bit, but not majorly.
I'm supposed to be hooked up to the Ethernet, so I'm like really confused.
You're on the Ethernet?
Yeah, does it seem like it?
No, not so much.
Dang. Do I have to like do anything to make it? I thought like if I just connect it. No, it says connected to Ethernet.
Yeah, you have to reach over and slap Eric in the face right now. Just go on and pop him wide. I'm not sure that would help, but it would be really fucking funny. Oops, we're live. I couldn't.
No, I am connected to the Ethernet.
Wasn't supposed to say that.
I'm connected to the Ethernet.
Any more?
No. Can you believe that?
My computer's running, so it's sucking up all the juice from the station here.
All the juice from the we had
all
no
that
juice.
internet juice. You
Hey,
sucking
Michelle,
up all the internet juice, Michelle. How could you?
Listen.
Showing satellite loops that are 3 days old.
Stopping up all those
temperatures from 2 weeks ago.
I wish you were showing temperatures from 2 weeks ago. I have lost my patience with nature.
Patience? What's that?
Opinions expressed of Michelle are not necessarily those of WISC TV or the CBS television.
I'm tired of winter a little bit. Like I feel like today I was kind of like I've had it. Had it. I know. I'm like just staring at myself like this.
Enough is enough and too much is plenty.
Enough is enough and too much.
Michelle?
What?
I need a sports rundown.
You just emailed Skull.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
You could hear you.
I mean,
me over.
I'll write it in after this break. Okay.
Okay.
Yay. Where's Teresa tonight? We haven't seen her. She usually pops in.
We can't make a sound.
I don't know. She saw my Facebook invitation, so she didn't.
Welcome back. Somali-based extremist group Al-Shabaab released a video over the week. Malls in the country.
Now FBI officials are working with mall owners nationwide to boost security following the release of the video, which specifically named Minnesota's Mall of America.
We now have a situation where groups like ISIL, Al-Shabaab, AQAP are publicly calling for individual actors to carry out attacks in their homelands. And in my judgment, that represents a totally new environment.
Al-Shabaab is an al-Qaeda-linked group that claimed responsibility for the 2013 attack on the Westgate Mall in Nairobi, Kenya. It killed more than 60 people. U.S. authorities say there is no credible evidence that a U.S. mall attack is imminent. Still, shoppers at Mall of America are on alert.
I'm scared because I have kids. I have 2 little ones and I'm pregnant.
The Minnesota Landmark held several lockdown drills in the 2 days since that threat. Stores had to pull down their metal bars as part of the drill. Despite all this, retail experts do not believe that shoppers will stop going to malls.
Most consumers are getting a little immune, or desensitized, probably the better word, toward these types of threats. So I don't expect it to have much measurable effect on sales or even the activities of people.
The terror video also pointed out malls in Canada and England as potential targets. Severe winter weather hitting the south from Texas to Tennessee.
Crews are working to get power restored for thousands of people in Tennessee tonight. Ice and snow brought down power lines and caused roofs to collapse. The weather is blamed for at least 20 deaths in the region. Meanwhile, the Northeast and Midwest are also getting hit with another Arctic blast. During the next few days, wind chills are expected to dip below 0 in Chicago, New York, and Boston.
But the folks up in the Twin Cities, they do not bat an eye during these cold months. In fact, a unique yoga class Sunday afternoon. It's one of those only in Minnesota moments. Participants didn't break a sweat. They broke a frost. Snow yoga, or snoga as they call it. There was a big crowd at Nicollet Mall in downtown Minneapolis, all part of a fundraiser for the county. Yogis wore their snow gear to do some downward dogs and warrior poses out there. And I guess you got to just embrace it because it's not going to go away anytime soon, particularly up there, right, Gary? Gary is our resident
Yeah, that's good,
right.
Gary.
Boy, I can just see falling over with the parka on and the snow boots, because that's what you need to do at yoga in weather like this. And boy, it was beautiful out this morning, as long as you could stay inside and look at it out the window. I mean, we had hardly a cloud in the sky. This is the time lapse from our WIC Skycam looking out toward the east, toward the city of Madison. And it was just a bright, sunshiny day. Current view, the live view, shows some high clouds overhead, but still a cold night. Winds have actually picked up quite a bit. And this is the live view from our Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison, looking toward the UW campus and over the frozen southern end of Lake Mendota. High temperature, 9 degrees. There's the average high, 34. The low of 12 below 0. A good 30 degrees below the average low of 18. And right now we're sitting at 7 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Winds are gusting to 20 miles per hour to the southwest. So while that's going to keep temperatures up and actually cause them to rise overnight, the wind chill is still at 8 degrees below 0. Doppler 3000 shows some snow flurries to our north and west. This is actually with the milder Pacific air coming in from the west. And while temperatures this morning were in the teens and 20s below 0 across all of Wisconsin, except for far southeastern parts of the state where Milwaukee was a balmy 5 below 0, current temperatures are actually in the single digits here, teens to the west, so they're warming up, and then you get 20s and even 30s once you start getting into the eastern Dakotas. But that mild air will be cut off by a cold front dropping southward. So these snow flurries that are coming through are ahead of a warm front, but there's the cold front lurking just north of the U.S.-Canadian border, and temperatures will drop off pretty rapidly. So while you can see the 30s out to the west, just north of the U.S.-Canadian border, those temperatures drop back into the 20s and teens. Compared to 24 hours ago, you can see how mild the temperatures are, or at least warming up, and that's just because it was so cold last night, and now temperatures are much milder. But high-resolution future track shows those flurries coming on through, and then we're going to be looking at another blast of cold air. Overnight, temperatures staying and rising into the teens with increasing clouds. It'll become windy. For tomorrow, look for a high of 28 degrees with the chance for a few flurries. It'll be windy, so that'll keep wind chills in the single digits above 0. Highs tomorrow, 30 in Platteville, 29 in Richland Center, and 28 in Verona with a chance for a flurry. Wednesday, we're back to partly sunny skies. Look at the temperatures. They drop by about 15 degrees to 16 in Monroe and 16 in Janesville, north and east of Madison. Look for a chance for flurries tomorrow. High 27 in Beaver Dam and 28 in Lodi, and partly sunny skies and much colder on Wednesday. High only 13 in Reedsburg and Endeavor. 7-day forecast brings temperatures down to 6 below 0 by Thursday morning. That'll be close to the record low of -9, and wind chills will be down to -20. Expect temperatures to stay cold through Friday. Then as we warm up for the weekend, there'll be a chance for some accumulating snow on Sunday, just to throw something else into the mix for the winter.
Why not?
Right.
Thanks, Gary.
Next at 10, you might have to make some changes to your morning routine.
Why one bagel chain is closing a couple of its locations in Madison.
I'm Mark Kane.
And I'm Susan Simon. On the next Live at 5, we have a call for action update with Adam Schrager.
And Consumer Reports is on with this.
Here I'd gotten used to the Channel 3 weather brought to you by McDonald's.
I know.
What?
What
Okay,
happened to that?
You want to know the sports really quickly?
Yes,
Okay.
we need a rundown.
Okay, sports is Bo and Trayvon, Big Ten, Bucks, hockey, and Eisen. What do you
Can I
think?
show top 10? Or Big Ten?
I think so, because it's just a gen. It looks like, maybe? Eisen? Oh, wait, sorry. What's Eisen? Is Eisen maybe local? Let me look.
Eisen.
We're
Oh,
moving on.
Eisen is him running the 40-yard dash probably at NFL Combine. That
Okay.
is NFL Network probably. Yeah, J-Do.
Hello. So what can I not show?
Really, our hangout got a little bit more busy. Okay, you guys, I'll be back. I can't move this now that I'm attached to Ethernet, so talk amongst yourselves, okay? I'll be
You're not the
back.
boss of me. I can do whatever I want.
You do whatever you want. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I'm still...
Whatever. I do what I want.
I have to pay extra close
Michelle
attention
broke
now.
all things.
2:30. What?
Oh, bugger.
2 minutes 30.
Yeah. Still left in the commercial break after weather.
Hey, they got to make their money.
I know.
Gary and me saying something
They're in the money. Money.
They gotta advertise stuff.
I haven't seen that commercial, but it
Buy
looks really
candles.
weird.
Candles are awesome. Buy them. Well, not this one. I've used it. But buy candles. That's my advertisement. So I'm helping.
I think you can buy used
I
candles
have a
on
bunch of
eBay.
them from high school up on my shelf here.
High school candles?
Yeah, from prom.
Oh.
But they're in beer mugs and wine glasses, so they don't give it gives the illusion that we're not promoting alcohol.
Right. Of course not.
We would
what respectable
never.
prom would do that? Yeah. Would totally never happen.
And 1:30?
Kids these days don't drink. That's
Of course
old
not.
people.
Oh,
Yeah. Teenagers are nice, respectable citizens that would never even dream of
$1 million in tax
partaking
credits
of alcoholic beverage.
about 750
Well,
new jobs at the Westside business, which developed the
Crazy
first
thought
non-invasive
that
screening
they
test
would
for
ever
colon cancer.
defy
Exact
authority.
Sciences will also invest $26 million into the economy, which their CEO hopes will spur more growth in other job sectors.
With growth, people will build houses and build apartments, and we think that's an important part of what we're doing here, and it's one of the reasons it's so exciting is we know that our growth helps spur continued growth throughout the region and the state.
Exact Sciences won't actually get the $9 million for another 5 years. They have to wait until the company has hired all their new employees and expanded their facilities. Well, if you depend on Einstein Bagels to start your day, you may need to make some changes.
Yeah, depending on where you are. The franchise is shutting down 2 locations in Madison tomorrow. The stores are on Verona Road and Fordham Avenue, along with 37 others across the country. That still leaves 3 other stores, though, here in Madison.
Okay, another day, another dollar, $500 in fact for our great grocery giveaway winner. Susan Simon caught up with today's winner, Amy.
Do you have anything special coming up that you would need the money for the groceries, or what do you think you're going to use it for?
Well, my husband's in construction this time of year is kind of tough, so it couldn't have come at a better time, and I'm so excited because we actually really need it, so I'm very excited to have it. I don't ever win anything, so.
So cool. Well, Amy's strategy. Last week, she watched News 3 this morning, every morning.
And she's going to keep doing it. Well, if you want to win, you got to play. Go to our Facebook page, look for the grocery giveaway tab, fill out the form, type in the keyword, and then watch News 3 this morning to see if you are a winner.
The Badgers are in Maryland, but is Trayvon Jackson any closer to playing soon? Bo Ryan has his thoughts coming up in sports.
A young woman with a disease.
Did anyone notice that
expand all the way down to Cincinnati?
The sample form they were typing in Bucky Badger.
Badger,
On
badger,
that.
badger, 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 badger.
Mushroom, mushroom. I cannot win.
I already forgot the sports rundown. Hey, Michelle.
Me? This slide up?
Let's watch her say something really candid.
Oh. Who's in here tonight? We got all kinds of people.
Nobody's in here.
Yeah.
We're all figments of your imagination.
Nobody.
We are
But
just.
you really got to stop drinking, Michelle. There's nobody here.
I am from the NSA. You do not know where I am. Everything you say will
I'm gonna tell your
be
sister.
recorded for quality assurance purposes.
Hey, did you guys see the question? So, okay, so I already kind of asked this earlier, but there's a house that's been burnt down twice, or not burnt down, but investigators are looking at a fire as arson because there was a registered sex offender who's going to live in that house. So the neighborhood, someone has been burning down that house or lighting that house on fire, and they think it might be related to who's moving in. Would you guys do?
Really, they figured that out all on their own, did they?
Well, what would you do if, like, would it bother you if a sex offender was moving next door to you? Like, would you do
Yes,
something?
especially if I had children.
No, not really.
Really, it would bother you? I mean, I feel like I've looked in my neighborhood and there are sex offenders like at every other house.
Yeah. Sex offenders are all over the place. Plus,
Now,
yeah,
do
people
realize
get added
that
to the sex offenders list for all sorts of idiotic reasons that actually have nothing to do with sex. But see, the thing is, like, I mean, you got to give people a chance to reform. It's like, I mean, sure, it's like, I mean, if there was a sex offender in the neighborhood, I knew about it. It's like I'd probably watch them a little bit more carefully, particularly as like when my nieces and nephews are about. But you got to give people a chance to reform, because otherwise, like, if you're doing this to them, and every time they try to move into another neighborhood, you're burning down their house. I mean, come on. What position are you putting them in? You're putting them in a position where it's like, okay, it's like I can't be a part of civilized society. I might as well just keep offending the sex.
Well, I mean, that's what the sheriff said too. The sheriff said, well, what? Because I think the Department of Corrections has leased that house or something. So they said basically they can't ask him to move somewhere else because that would set a bad precedent. But I think that house is a loss, Eric. That we're close. Yeah, I think that house is a loss.
There
If
is
it's
an
not the third
issue
time, we'll do it.
with people who have they've become registered sex offenders because of a technicality with the law. Like one guy, he's just driving down the road, and this little girl comes up right in front of him, in front of his car. He gets out and basically, don't do that and all that stuff. And he grabbed her arm, and someone busted him for it, and for the rest of his life, because of that, he has to register as a sex offender.
A buddy of mine had to register as a sex offender because he got arrested for pissing on a building. I mean,
Sports is on. I have to pull it up.
Can you turn the feed on?
Yeah, I can turn the feed on.
This week, he was pretty adamant about it, and hey, I heard there's a heck of a game in the surf going on Sunday mornings, or the Shell or something like that. Maybe that's what I don't know what he was referring to. We haven't discussed it. Because me talking about it with Trey does not matter. It's all based on the medical people.
Well, the Badgers have a huge week ahead. Tomorrow night they're at Maryland. Sunday they host Michigan State. Both those teams, as you can see, tied for second in the Big Ten. If Wisconsin beats Maryland tomorrow night, the Badgers will clinch at least a tie for the Big Ten regular season championship. By the way, the Badgers stayed in 5th place in the AP rankings today. Maryland up 3 spots to 16th. The Milwaukee Bucks play the back end of consecutive days tonight in Chicago. Bucks were pretty sluggish, and despite Derrick Rose going 1 for 13, the Bulls won. Watch former Marquette star Jimmy Butler on the follow. Watch how high he gets on the replay. He can kiss the rim. That's sweet. He can get up. Final score, Bulls 87, Bucks 71. Tomorrow night, the WIA Boys Hockey Tournament continues. 2 big games around here begin at 8. West at Middleton at Cap Ice. Edgewood at Madison Memorial at MIA at 8. Janesville's at Waukesha at 5:30 tomorrow night. Also tomorrow night in girls hockey, Middleton and Sun Prairie face off in Sun Prairie at 7. Stoughton's at Onalaska at 7. And NFL Network's Rich Eisen ran the 40 today to close out the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. Eisen, of course, ran it in his full suit, and he also ran it to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. His time, 6.10 seconds. Then they superimposed that run with quarterback Jameis Winston's run. Eisen's 6.1 was actually only 0.4 of a second slower than one of the guys in the Combine, Oklahoma offensive lineman Adam Sheed, who weighs 339 pounds. We'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
This kicker is living. The kicker lives, and it is in your neck of the woods. Actually,
Really?
I don't know if it's in your neck of the woods. It's in your home state.
Okay.
What did that happen?
What?
This parking lot.
Is that?
Oh.
You know what I'm
Are we
talking
talking about the guy that was drifting on the frozen parking lot?
I don't know. I don't think it's drifting. Are you near Plano? I can't remember where.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah, it was 2
And I know exactly where that mall is, too, that he did that at.
Something like Ford, they did that before Ford died, and then you go, like, in a book, and that was it. And then Adam's package started.
Teresa, did you catch us on the news tonight at 10, like on regular TV?
Yeah. Most of it, I think, yeah.
Did you talk it at the very beginning of the newscast?
What's concerning is that's happened twice now.
What was it?
Days.
Eric's talking about it now. We were like on air before we were on air.
And it's Michelle and I haven't said it. Michelle, I think, called me a dingbat or something because I didn't know anything about
you
football.
dang.
You have audio loop. I have to mute you real quick, okay?
That was caught on air.
It's not offensive stuff, but
Were they recording audio? Were they recording like?
Like there's like a little squeeze back, like if it's whatever show comes on before the news.
Probably in MC.
Yeah. Running the credits.
You sit there and say, "Oh, anchors, be careful," but at the same time,
I can't hear you over Eric, Michelle.
Somebody on the floor saying,
"Can you hear me?" What?
All right, we need a mic check.
I can barely hear you over Eric.
Not saying anything,
I'll just let him tell the story.
Out of line or anything. Just
reach over there and slap him because that'd be funny.
It's overdrive gets your everything.
Or get a little
sorry,
sword
Nick.
pistol and say, too loud.
Newscast of the year. Michelle Lee slaps her anchor in the middle of a broadcast.
I'll explain to you in 5 minutes.
Okay.
News at 11.
This is probably the last commercial, and then we'll probably.
Probably.
Probably. I never really know. I just get a standby or I feel it. Like I'm like, oh.
Well, where's your standby guy? I haven't heard him tonight.
So you feel it in your bones then.
Red 5 standing by.
My side.
Out in Texas, a light dusting of snow and some ice. Pretty rare down there. So today in Plano, a driver was having a little fun in a mostly empty mall parking lot. The local CBS affiliate caught the sliding and donuts via chopper cam. Obviously, we don't recommend anyone doing this.
Yeah, hopefully it was an empty parking lot. You want to get out of control?
Yeah, they don't get that very often down there, so they don't know how to really handle that.
No, we just have the cold here, and it'll be sticking around for a while. Look for temperatures in the teens and single digits above and below zero for the most part up until the weekend, and then we'll see a chance for some snow Saturday night and Sunday. That could bring some accumulation on Sunday as well.
All right. Gary, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
And that's how we do it. YouTube.
Nope, I didn't catch that, and I was, darn it. Cable, you can rewind, and if you've been on the same channel, you can rewind and see that kind of thing, but I didn't have it on this channel here. I was across the hall in a different apartment, so I already turned that off, so I blew that.
Todd, we had solid sleet on the ground here, and it wasn't above freezing the entire day. And from about midnight till about 5 a.m., it sleeted nonstop, and it froze solid. So that's what the guy was doing donuts on in the parking lot.
Well, he's doing it, really slow, so.
Yeah, I mean, he still could have hit a light pole, but he didn't, as far as I know.
Oh, I mean, he probably looks around and it's like, okay. Yeah. I mean, I like the, going down my street and, when it's, there's snow and, I just hit the brake and feel my car, skid forward for like a couple feet, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty fun. Okay, time to gain control again.
I used to think that it was pretty cool to bobsled down my alley when it was frozen, and then I ran into a barbed wire fence and decided not to do that again.
Ow.
Ow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouchies.
The barbed wire got me right here, like right between the shoulder blade and the clavicle.
Okay. Yeah.
What are we talking about? What happened?
When I was bobsledding in the alley and hit a barbed wire fence.
That's horrible. Why were you? Did you say bobsledding?
Yeah. It's like sledding, but with a running start. So.
Oh, okay.
Because
it's all about having fun.
It's all about having fun.
Right.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Did I cut anyone off on that sex offender discussion, or do you want to move on?
I don't have anything to really say about it.
If they're really, that crazy, they can't help them.
What?
Well, the thing is that I think is interesting is that, like I said earlier, like in my neighborhood, I have a ton of sex offenders, and I don't think some of them kind of scare me because some of them have been like offenses against children, like sexual deviant assault, or like just things that sounded like really and it's always like the ones with against children like make me nervous. Sorry, I can't talk. But then I always wonder about those people who are sex offenders who are not violent. I mean that came out wrong too. But I just sometimes I think of like what kind of crime did they do? I think.
Yeah, I mean they have them categorized by risk. If someone's nonviolent, they're lower risk than someone who can strike again at any time. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, the one time I met this man in my neighborhood. It was before I bought the house, and so I asked him about the neighborhood and how great it was, and he said he loved it and how we'd have to hang out if I moved into the house, and his family, my family. And I said that'd be great. And then I did the sex offender search, and he was a sex offender. And I'm sure I looked at his record. It didn't look like a very not like a more serious one, but but I was like, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to judge people. But you know what I mean. I will tell you.
I haven't hung out with him yet.
I haven't hung out with him. No, I haven't hung out with him. Yeah. No, I feel bad. I haven't hung out with anyone in our neighborhood though. But I will say, so I posted this question on Facebook, and I just said, talk to us. We've been teasing Gary about Snoga. There are some things that I can't read, but there's a little discussion there. Yeah, I just realized that. Sorry, this is live on YouTube. But anyway, so a couple of people are talking about that. Usually, tonight what I did was I posted this first question. I don't like how Facebook kind of changes how it looks like when I actually post.
But I posted the question, and then I put like 4 stories that we were talking about. The problem is it didn't look like that when I posted it. Now it kind of looks like garbly goop. So anyway, whatever. Good discussion. I think it is interesting that this community someone has burned down this house twice now in 3 months because of one person who would live in that house. So. What else is happening? Did you guys have a good weekend?
Okay. We had about 7 inches of snow in Cincinnati on Saturday. That was supposed to turn to rain, but it never did.
Okay. I would rather have snow than rain because I feel like it would freeze up again and turn to ice.
Eh.
Nah.
Let's see. Matt Latos, that used to be on the Reds, is talking smack about the team, about, how it's become a circus and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, good stuff, bad stuff, every day.
Yeah. Anyone else do anything exciting?
Sorry, guys. I just saw your title. What would you do if there was a sex offender?
Yeah.
There you go.
We'd
Can
love to
I
hear
can I
jump
respond
in.
to that, or am I
Yeah.
breaking it?
No, absolutely. Jump in. Sorry, we talked about it and then we kind of moved on, but
Yeah,
we'll come
I'm
back.
sure
But
you
yeah,
did,
this is the.
yeah. That's so cool, man. Look, I had a couple of thoughts about that, and there is a bit of over-reporting of sex offenders, especially in the US. For example, if you kind of make out on the park bench, with a girl, you could be labeled a sex offender, and then that's it. You're on the list, right? You could basically be underage guy and girl, maybe 16-year-old guy, whatever. I understand, right, that the sex offender list is there to protect young people. You get a 40, 50-year-old guy going after a 12-year-old girl, right? We all get that, but there is an issue here with just sort of rushing to judgment. There are a lot of people who are sort of nudists or who are sort of otherwise inclined that can also be caught up in this net of stuff that people don't really intend. You know what I mean? Nobody gives a shit about a nude beach, right? They're not really trying to get that. They're trying to get old guys going after young girls or whatever, So I don't think it's as simple as that. Now I'm not quite sure whether you guys explored those depths, but I would be interested. Who brought this topic up?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and I think that's kind of where we were in our discussion, because
Oh.
I think a lot of people will admit, and that there is.
Okay, pop quiz. How old were you when you lost your virginity?
Whoa.
Well, it's a topic, right? It's on topic. Now, think about it. Don't answer that, right? But I'm just telling you that could have fallen under those laws, right? Now, I've done a little bit of research, right? And people used to be able to get married at 12 in Utah, right? Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but things change over time. Now, I understand, when people had short lifespans, it was important to get together, and procreate. Now that we're different, we've got a different problem. We've got an aging population. It's cool, man. You don't have to fucking have kids at all. I mean, basically, we have the problem where no one wants to have fucking kids, right? So we've got a different problem at home. But I'm just saying, wouldn't it be terrible if, if you ever did lose your virginity before X age or Y age, that guy would go to jail? I mean, that's fucked up.
Did you have a thought, Nick? I saw you kind of do this.
I'm just following along.
Well, it is fucked up, isn't it? No, that would be fucked up. The problem is lack of consent, right? So, yeah. And you have nebulous stuff, right? Okay, I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, right, I went under the trees, with this girl when I was 9, right? And she goes like, "Oh, let's take our clothes off and do whatever." I'm like, I didn't even know what sex was. I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that. Whatever. Like, I was freaked out, right? And like I'm saying, there is a natural curiosity and a tendency for everybody to explore sexuality. That is how animals are. We came from animals as an animal side of us. At the same time, we want to protect, people from predators. So it's got to be very delicately balanced. It's not just a black and white thing. It's so easy to demagogue the issue. So I'm not into that.
I think a lot of people feel the same way you do to an extent, in the sense that there is a very open dialogue about over-reporting and people being on this list forever, kind of like this scarlet letter, when perhaps maybe they don't deserve to be. Like this list can maybe ruin your life, So I think that there's a very real and open dialogue about that, and I think a lot of people in this hangout thought that. Didn't you, Nick? Or I felt like you had something to say about it earlier. I will say, just in this particular incident, I didn't really know the extent of the sex offender who was moving next door to this in this.
Oh, sorry, I haven't actually looked into your particular circumstances.
Okay.
I'm just responding to like
the question in general. Yeah. So the question.
I didn't know that was about a certain person or anything.
Oh yeah, no. The question. There's a house that has been burned twice. Has been set fire twice in 3 months, and it was because a sex offender was set to live there. A registered sex offender was scheduled to move in. I think the house is leased by the Department of Corrections. I could be.
Yeah. Okay. And what had the guy done? Like, he's a sex offender, right?
This person, he was convicted for second-degree sexual assault of a child, and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. That I don't know the extent of his court records, but.
And what is a child?
I'm sorry.
Is it under 16, under 18? Like, how do you define a child? I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
Well, let me finish real quick. He was sentenced. He was convicted for second-degree sexual assault of a child and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. And then 3 years later, he was found to be a sexually violent person and was committed to a treatment center. So
4 years is a long time. Like, he must have done something pretty nasty. He's like, 4 years.
Yeah, I'm not super sure on the actual incident. I think a child, though, I mean, that's 18 and younger, right? It's not just a minor. It's not like 16.
Well, come on, man. You telling me that when you were 17 you can't consent to sex? Really?
No, I'm not saying that, but I think a child, the definition of a child is...
Well, what's a child?
Is it age of consent is
different, man. They're all different at different ages. Like, people don't just grow up. I understand why we have the law and we have to do it, but there are people who go higher and lower. Like, I'm just saying it's a nebulous problem, and like, just to slap the whole like label on everybody, I think it makes us feel good about doing something right against children, which we all like, but it may not encompass, everything. At the same time, I actually think that people who like to fuck children probably never change, right? And we should probably, I don't know what we do with them, because I don't think that's like a sort of a phase. I just think that that's what they're like, right? And they're going to keep doing it over and over again. So it's very difficult. I mean, how do you change that? I mean, I don't think it's changeable. It's like saying stop being gay to somebody. It's in their fucking head. So I don't know what the answer is. So,
But the laws, about, this blanket covering, it has become more of a legal cover your ass type thing. You'd rather be safe than sorry.
That sounds interesting. Explain more. How has it become more of a blanket covering? In what state? Are you talking from your own local jurisdiction? Are you talking about the U.S. law, or you're talking generally?
It's just, I see it though a little bit off topic, when you hear about all these things that happen at schools and stuff, like a kid, he brought a toy Lego gun and was suspended for school because it involved a gun that zero tolerance. That's the thing. It's all
Oh,
zero
right. You're talking about
tolerance.
government overreach now, generally.
But to a lot of people, they feel that okay, yeah, he hit a kid. Okay, he's a sex offender. He slapped a kid. Yeah, I know it's accidental, but we.
I get it, man. You're talking about government overreach. You're talking about government sort of overreaching into personal lives that maybe could be, better dealt with on a family level. I understand that. But there are also, like, people without families. Like, if you look in the African American community at the moment, they're decimated. I mean, like, I think there's over half of them are single parent families. So, I mean, where next? I mean, how long before the family gets broken down to the point where, like, I don't know, we don't have families anymore? I think the one world government, if they actually is that what they're doing, they don't even want us to have fucking families anymore. They just want us to all, like, be individuals. And I'm all for the individual, but I mean, like, dude, really? I mean, like, we need families too. Is that what you're saying?
It's just the people who feel that okay, you deal with it. Yeah, bust them all. I'll be fine if you bust them all, and then we'll be it'll be a better society later on. And if stuff comes up later, yeah, we'll deal with it, and of course never
So
do.
what would you like to happen with society? Like, where would you take it? I mean, like, would you just let people make their own choices? Would you take control of the wheel if there is a wheel? Would you construct a wheel? I mean, how would you like to see society move forward?
Well, there was a thing that unfortunately it can't be used much anymore called common sense. But
yeah, but that's just your own actual thoughts, right? So you can't use common sense, right?
Yeah, because common sense, legally would be considered, oh, well, I like it this
Everybody
way.
has their own version of common sense, right? So we can't be arguing about common sense, right? If you want to argue about what you believe, that's cool. But don't call it common sense. It's just your own thoughts.
Yeah, but I just thinking, why is it that a guy who tells a kid who rode her bike outside right in front of his car and he nearly hit her, and he wanted to discipline her. He apparently just grabbed her by the arm, and now he's labeled as a sex offender.
Well, I think you're conflating a few ideas here together. But you seem like a very nice and good-hearted, great guy. And I'm gonna get back to your moderator.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask you. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Have any of you guys had an experience where you knew someone who was kind of like unfairly on a sex offender registry list? Like anyone personally, have you known that to be the case?
No, I can't say I have.
I was just wondering.
I've been very loosely acquainted with one before, and it was a case where it was statutory rape. They were both underage, and he took the heat for it. But as far as I know, they're married now. Like after he got done with...
What happened to his... Is he still on the list?
He's still on the list.
Yeah,
even though they're married now. Because they were both...
Right? You're on the fucking list.
I think in Texas you can be taken off the list after a certain number of years. I could be wrong. I don't necessarily read up on these things. But...
I don't know, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I know it's a fucked up list anyway.
Does anyone else have any thoughts they want to add to this discussion?
Sorry, I missed the beginning of it.
Well, I mean, obviously that's a hot topic, and of course, there's. I mean,
hang on, let me interrupt. You've got some pretty intelligent people. I can see them like thinking their brains are on here. Like, I think they want to contribute this. Like, they look like extremely thoughtful people here. Maybe this is not the topic. I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for a new topic. But I'm surprised they haven't actually engaged in this topic. Maybe they're like looking at sport or something. I don't know.
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's a good discussion because, I think those things when, I don't know, is anyone a parent in here?
No.
Is anyone what?
A parent.
A parent. I'm a parent.
Would it, I mean, do you think your opinion might change if someone came like...
Yeah, it does.
Okay, yeah.
When you're a parent, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
There's evil on the house, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And see, and that's the thing, it's like, I think a lot of people want to be as fair and just, well, I just shouldn't say, you would think that a lot of people don't want to be as fair and just as possible, and we talk about this list.
If it comes to my child, you can forget the justice system, right? There's a completely different system over here. Okay, so yeah, that's a different system. I'm not talking about my child.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So anyway, good discussion. That was and I'm glad that you joined us. And that's cool that you found us and popped in. So I'm gonna.
At the back, he's like the cleaner or something. Like, I mean, are you at work?
I'm at work. This is what I'm doing for work. So I work at a. Yeah, I work at a. If you go back to the YouTube channel, you can watch the whole thing. We do the.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm behind the times.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool.
You got a little earring in there too.
Oh, a little earring? I have my...
Yeah, there's a pearl one there.
It's just a little gold dot. It's not a pearl. It's not
yeah, I got the beauty spot here on the chin.
I got one of those too. Anyway,
and the pearl white teeth. Yeah?
The white teeth. Oh my god.
Dressing every day, man. It's crazy.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to get us off YouTube. So thank you for joining us, and thanks for the discussion. We'll see you on Thursday. Bye.
All right, whatever, man.